Oh, yeah. Am I on that happy hour? Hey, let's talk about it. I'm listening, baby. Hey, am I on my happy hour?
Greetings, good people. Welcome back once more and again. This is going to be another wonderful broadcast right here on the Online Happy Hour. It's your main man, Andy Brown, the life coach, the host, the author, giving you some good game as only I know how to do it and as best as I see fit. Want to send a wonderful shout out to all my folks listening out there who put jelly on their biscuits and don't use syrup. Cheers to y'all for that. And also my people out there who are also just recovering this COVID situation that's going on right now. So this is no joke. People are out there, having some breathing issues, having some family issues, and are losing lives due to COVID-19. This coronavirus is still around. It's no joke. So I definitely want you to take time to consider your family, man, consider your health. I know you're living your best life every day as it may be, but still keep in mind that this virus is real and we cannot steer away from it. So please be careful in all that you do, and please be safe in everyone and everywhere that you go. I definitely want to thank everybody who's listening, man. If this is the first time that you've tuned into the Online Happy Hour, welcome. If you have been tuning in periodically, I say thank you. And if you are just now tuning in for the very first time, shame on you. You've been missing out on some wonderful things that we discuss here. Each and every week, we talk about real topics with real people, real situations, and real life events. And tonight would be no different. Definitely want to say thank you all for just giving some props. Hey, you like the jacket? It is cool. Sean, thank you so much. The jacket is kind of cool, man. I had to go off and dip in a player closet and go ahead and bring out some good stuff, man. I had to match my furniture in here, just gotta look good. Gotta look good, feel good, do good, and be good in everything I do. So definitely thank you all for that, man. Continue to hit some likes, give me some love, and definitely tune in for some wonderful, wonderful discussion topics that we're having right here. The followership has definitely increased, and I encourage you all to get some of that. Today's show is going to be a special one. Got some folks chiming in that's going to be available. I hope they can have an easy way to tune into this, but definitely be available. Today's show is going to be brought to you in part, and I do say in part because it's a full broadcast. Today's show is brought to you by Feline Couture. Please listen in and find out more about what's going on here and learn about special offers and featured items that you may hear about. So check out the wonderful show, the wonderful brand, the wonderful products that are coming at felinecouture.com. Check it out on IG, Facebook, Instagram, and all your social media platforms. So as you know, folks, I get down, I get real, I get 100. And we're going to discuss a wonderful discussion tonight. This topic came about based on different discussions. You know how we do. Everything is going to be random. Nothing is scripted. Nothing is written. Nothing is, if you say, planned out. So if you need that, this probably isn't the broadcast for you. But I want to bring on somebody who's got some good things going on, not only with her personal life, but also in her business. You're going to learn more about what she's doing with SugaBabyCo.com and more about what she has going on this topic as it relates to her. And I got a wonderful person coming on. This is going to be a very hilarious show, very informative show, and a very insightful show as well. So without further ado, the thoughts and ideas displayed here on the Online Happy Hour do not reflect those who are giving and offering negative comments, but what it is are those who are willing to comment, give some real talk and real discussion on the topic as it relates to us today. Now, although this topic might not be talking about you specifically, it's going to be involved in retrospect to something or someone that you know. and can give a listening eye too. So be sure to get some of this good game, be sure to get some of this knowledge, and be sure to pass some of this info on as we talk about the topic tonight of mixed signals, what they say versus what they do. And who's going to be on this show broadcasting with me is none other than the one and only, learn more about her, D Major NPA. Welcome to the Online Happy Hour. D, what's happening?
Hey,
Welcome
hi.
to a round of applause. How you feeling, lady? You're glowing.
Am I? I'm feeling good. I'm so excited
Well, you
about
look
being.
great.
Huh?
You look great. This is going to be a good one. I'm glad you made time to hang out with us and talk about this one tonight. For those who don't know who you are, can you go ahead and enlighten us and give the folks some insight on who's going to be chiming in today?
Well, my name is Dee. Well, everyone call me Dee. My name is actually Delia. I am a budding re-entrepreneur.
Hmm.
So I used to own several businesses, and then I kind of walked away from that world, and now I'm going back into the entrepreneurship. So this year, my daughter and I launched our little online retail business called SugaBabyCo.com. We started with athleisure that was very catered to the pandemic. Um, we now that the world is starting to open up, we're actually rebranding a little bit, and we're getting more into resort wear.
Okay.
So exciting things to come with our brand, but it's really awesome because it's a mother-daughter, minority, female, owned brand, and it's been really fun, to build a brand with her 15-year-old daughter, and it's really exciting for her that she's a business owner and she's just a freshman in high school. So pretty exciting for me.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Glad to have some discussion on this. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about a discussion topic today on the Online Happy Hour as it relates. So we're talking about mixed signals, folks. What they say versus what they do. We'll talk about what mixed signals are, what they mean, what we think they mean, how to resolve them, and then finally, how we need to get through these things. So cheers to you. I'm going to have me a sip.
Hey.
Oh, the bread's so sweet. So let's dive off into this thing. When we're talking about mixed signals, when you hear the term mixed signals, what comes the first thing that comes to mind?
Signals. The first thing that comes to mind for me is men. Men are the kings of it.
Of mixed signals?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. In what way? Let's open up this door all the way, shall we? Just leave it wide open if y'all want to come on in. Tell your family members, tell your friends, let's do this. What does that mean exactly?
Well, from my perspective, I think uh, mixed signals, in short, is having a contradiction between what you say and what you do,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
regardless if you're male or female.
True.
Uh, and that contradiction leads to misunderstandings that create stagnation in people's relationships. And I just think that, one of the foundational factors in any type of relationship, friendship, business, romantic, even, parent to child, familial relationships is communication.
Right.
And being consistent in what you're communicating to people. And that, mixed signals can sometimes evolve into something very hurtful and create
Mhm.
long-term trauma in people, even when that was never the intention by the communicator.
I agree. I agree. Now keep this in mind. If people, we're not blaming anyone for being on the receiving end of confusing messages, and that's just what mixed signals are. It just means the other person has really a lot to really straighten out on their own, and this can really affect you, where you are, and what you think, believe, or assume this can go. So mixed signals can simply be just really miscommunication, or watch this now, or they can be an excuse to hold you at arm's length because they don't want to commit to any further action. Did I say that out loud to start the show?
You said it. You said
Okay.
it.
because you said something about the men, and I want the fellas to represent. Hit us up, fellas. You know how to do this thing. Go on and hit that chat, man. Go on and hit some likes, send some text messages. You know what that is, because you said you just said the first thing that came to your mind was men. Really, not women, not children, not employers. No, not the folks in the drive-through that get the orders wrong at times, but men, right? So what is this? Why men? Why are men with the on the front end of the mixed signals?
You know, I say that a little bit in jest, but
Oh, men.
I think that we've all been subjected to miscommunications, mixed signals on some platform of our life. We've
Mhm.
all, but there's a hierarchy of importance in our life, and
Right.
so with a child, I mean, especially in a parent-child relationship. Now, from a parent to a child, giving proper signals is very, very important. But from a child to a parent, there's kind of an expectation that, this is the younger generation, their emotional maturity, their discernment, their ability to communicate may still be evolving. And you kind of, you have a lot more patience and you allow a lot more.
Mhm.
Um, with a close family member, kind of the same employer, especially in the corporate world, you kind of expect it to be uh, a little done.
Ooh.
We're very much conditioned to expect that. But when you
Mhm.
into that interpersonal relationship, that and particularly romantic relationships, whether it's male, female, or same sex relationships, uh, you hold because you have romantic emotional connection to somebody. I think that we instinctively hold people to a little bit of a higher standard
Mhm.
in represent themselves to us and how they represent the relationship outwardly to the world. And so that's why, to me, I know I personally, definitely, I do that. So the first thought that comes to mind as far as mixed signals, the mixed signals that I have received in my life and women that I talk to, the ones that are the most impactful, the most hurtful, the most controversial, are usually the ones that we have with our significant others. So that's
Mhm.
why right out the gate.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's go there. The can is already open. We're going to talk about mixed signals, what they say versus what they do. So let's talk about what's being said that gives these mixed signals, right? Whether it's you mentioned men, like you say, men are we saying certain things that lead to mixed because women do it too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Employers are definitely good at that. Yeah, they'll tell you one thing. Yes, we don't necessarily need you to wear a mask in the office. And as soon as you get hired and they bring you on, oh yeah, well, we forgot about that part. We're going to bring you in under this pay or whatever the case may be. And that fucking sucks for a lot of people because they
Hmm.
have some misunderstanding about what the job really in tune. You came in thinking that this job was going to be one thing, and you were hired on the premise of it doing one thing. And then what happens? What do we normally say? Oh, that's not in my job description. Yeah,
Hmm.
they don't pay me enough to do this. You know what I'm talking about?
They do a bait and switch.
Oh,
Yeah, they do a bait and switch. They sell you the world,
right.
and they have you. It's like, oh yeah, none of that applies.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Employers are notorious for that. Even even I'll say this for some men. If fellas are saying, hey, I'll call you back in 10 minutes, and he doesn't return your call for maybe about a day and a half, is that a mixed signal?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it definitely sends a signal, right?
Hmm.
I think it sends something that banks in your subconscious that this person does not mean what they say,
Hmm.
do what they say. So I definitely think it sets a precedent, uh, and that's really on the small scale. I think we all kind of understand that, busy
So can
people,
we go there now?
huh?
We can open up the door on this. Like I said, folks, I want y'all to get this. I just need to make sure that the listeners have a good understanding because we don't want any confusion. We're not going to send any mixed signals to anyone out here. So you have a good idea of what we're talking about. We're talking about mixed signals, what they say versus what they do. So if I'm a guy and I tell a young lady, yes, I want to be your man. I want to be your one and only. And I want to date you and exclusively. Well, you don't use exclusively. I'm just going to say, I just want to date you. But yet you still find that dude going out with other people. Or watch this now. You may find him spending time with somebody else. Is that a mixed signal?
That's an extreme situation.
Wait a minute. So we went from the light to the heavy.
Well, that is extreme. But that's signal. That's more like infidelity and lying is what that is. We're talking about mixed signals. So to me, a mixed signal is, yes, I mean, you're right. There are people who intentionally provide mixed signals to keep people, on the back burner, keep people at bay. That's true. And that's malicious. And that is lying. I mean, that's, that mixed signal, if you, make somebody think that there's some type of priority, really not, you're just trying to put them in, like on stall, then yeah, that's deception. Mm-hmm. Into a whole nother territory. But I think, mixed signals to me are not, I don't think there's something that people maliciously do. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that people, accidentally do because we as people are inherently self-motivated. We're inherently, we inherently seek self-preservation, self-gratification. And so, I just think sometimes it's just like an unintentional, almost instinctive, selfish thing that we do because we kind of just get to talking out the side of our neck and we're completely unaware of how the other person is perceiving and depending and relying on the things that we're saying to them. But I think that most people that give mixed signals are not doing it from a malicious place. And I have examples of that where I think, the person that was giving the mixed signals, the people in the examples I have that were giving mixed signals, trying to hurt anybody. But they caused a lot of damage.
So do you think that goes along the lines of maybe avoidance or detaching themselves from somebody?
No, not even. Let me give you an example. So I have a really, really good friend and just a great guy. Been married multiple times, right? And I'm kind of that really close female friend that he really downloads to. And so with his most recent marriage, they're currently going through a divorce. Mm-hmm. And I feel that this divorce is 100% his fault. And the reason I know from his own mouth that when he was dating his wife, he has past marriages. He doesn't have any biological children of his own. In his past marriages had children. So he kind of adopted the father role with those, okay, which is admirable. Right? And he views those children as his own. So when he was dating his current wife, she was very clear about the fact that she does not like that fraternization with exes things. She's a he on her fire hydrant, alpha type female, and she doesn't like sharing her man with exes. And her mentality, they're not your biological kids. You really didn't raise them because you weren't, with these children their entire life. And her expectation was that she be the priority if they're dating in a serious relationship. And he agreed to that. He agreed to fall back from the children's lives and the ex-wives' lives and all that stuff to give her the comfort of knowing that she was his number one. Fast married. Now married, and they've been married a little bit, he wants to go back to being dad to the kids. And mind you, this wasn't a sudden ideology. This was always his plan. And when I confronted him about it and said, you can't do that, his logic was he wanted to show his wife that he could follow so that he could later come back and lead. Well, that's a righteous thought process, but
Okay.
you misled your wife because she married you with the expectation and the understanding that these past relationships were no longer going to be a part of your life moving forward. And you never wanted to end those relationships. You just wanted to give her her way for a time period to give her not real security, a false sense of security. And now, in recent years, he's tried to force these relationships on his wife, and she is not having it. And it has escalated to the point that they are separated and now getting a divorce because he feels that she cannot be a submissive wife. And what I said to him, you're 100% wrong because you misled your wife going into the relationship, and she told you what her non-negotiable standards were, and you accepted them. So you have no right to come back later and flip the script. And that to me is an example of, giving mixed signals, mixed understanding, not to be damaging, but to improve the relationship. But it completely
No, Chris, no. You don't do that. You don't do that. Not especially to a spouse. To have and to hold and sickness in the health to death do you part. You don't do that. That's just bad behavior. Folks, we're talking about mixed signals, what they say versus what they do. And this guy is all over the place with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not cool, man. You have to have. I mean, you even open up the door to a wife, right?
Right. I mean, this is someone that he's not trying to
Well, is it the fact that his
relationship
distance with marriages just are showing signs that marriage ain't for him?
That's what I think. But he great guy. I mean, a good, loving. I mean, literally, when I tell you he did, everything else beautifully. I mean, celibate dating relationship because she wanted to be celibate until marriage. I mean, this lady had a lot of standards. Okay, she was not an easy cookie, and he wanted her. This was not a man who had bad intentions towards this woman. He really loved her and was willing to comply with all standards. But with the faulty logic that I'm going to show her that I can follow her lead so that she will let me lead later on.
No.
Illogical.
No.
Didn't work.
That's bad all the way around. Marriage ain't your thing, bro. I mean, if you sitting on 2, 3, 4 engagement rings out of your pocket, it just ain't for you, man. It's not for you. The mixed signal as itself should say that you showing your own self that this ain't for you.
and even signal in that is that's not really what your intention was. Your intention was always to be a father to these kids, and that's admirable. And he should have presented that honestly and stood on that hey, we're dating, we're in the dating phase, but I see a long-term goal with you. This is my non-negotiable. This is something that I stand on, and I'm not willing to give up these children that I love as my own. I'm not going to abandon them for this relationship.
Even with those intentions, right? Just like you said, you don't have the right intentions. Some people just don't give the message, or it's not relaying the way that the other person is anticipating, right? It's just not going through. We had a discussion about this with flowers, with candy, with chivalry, and things like that. So you have people who just don't their love languages are totally different.
Yeah.
So the intention could be, I want to show you that I hear that I love you because I'm physically here, as opposed to rubbing you down, making you feel good, saying all these lovey-dovey things, listen to fucking slow songs, Luther Vandross type shit, in the evening with you, holding your hands while you're out in public, because the intent is there because their presence is there. But the emotional aspect of what they're giving, one, isn't being shown appropriately, and two, it's not being received the way that the other person is anticipating it. So those mixed signals that we're giving, by me doing this and you still being here, by my presence just being here and you still accepting this, says that you're okay with this by you not saying anything. And on the flip side, that other person who's just in that space and letting this go is not doing themselves any justice either, because they're living in the, well, how come he don't do this? Well, how come this ain't happening over here? Well, they doing that on TV. Well, my auntie do it over here like this. Well, you're comparing bullshit to your existing relationship, and that in itself, ladies and gentlemen, is a big, big motherfucking problem. Please believe it.
I agree, and I think we could eliminate all of that confusion by just using our damn words. Really, I mean, one of the things that I really hate a Libra, and I don't see gray. I just see black or white. There is or and I just feel like, why can't we just say what the hell we mean? Instead of expecting you to perceive and read me. And like you said, love languages could be misfiring. It doesn't mean that two people are not compatible because their love languages are not the same.
Correct.
They could learn each other's love language and have a great relationship. But I just think that, there is a time in a relationship where that's okay, where you can read each other's love languages, but it requires a knowledge of each other. And so I think early on in relationships, screw reading. I think that people just need to straight up say it. Say what their expectations are. Say what they think. I know for me, that's very off-putting to people because I'm very, very direct, very, very blunt. You know exactly what I want, what I think, what my standards are, what my non-negotiables are. Like, I don't even waste time. I just get straight to the point.
Right.
People the wrong way. And it actually leads me to think people actually prefer the delusion of the signal reading. And I'm like, I'm not a mind reader. I can't read signals. So I'm just going to tell you, But I think that causes a lot of problems in relationships. I think you and I were talking about that just with men and women, and how we were talking about being social media official. Men do not want to show their relationships on social media. And a lot of women don't either. But I do think a lot of women want some acknowledgement of a relationship on social media. And how sometimes us women, we have these little antics where we kind of pee on our fire hydrant to send messages to the world that this is fine. And guys are like, why are you doing that? But we want something, to make it clear. And the reason why we want that something to make it clear, no matter what the guy is saying back in, the guy could have just paid my light bill or something and made love to me and told me I was his world. But if that public acknowledgement isn't there, then that's being read as this person is not fully committed to me.
Women do it too. They're not.
What did you say?
I said women do it too.
Yeah.
Out on a whole day, eating good. Plate is all nice, napkins laid out, wine glass. You got your dinner, your salad fork, your dinner fork, your steak knife, all laid out. And chances are you didn't go there by your fucking self, right? But you just take a picture of your plate. But you can see in the upper level of the camera the other person's plate. So you're not there by yourself, eating goods, lobster, steak, whatever, little selfies with the plate and everything. But you don't show dudes sitting across from you like that. But
But
to recognize that's a mixed signal like a motherfucker. Yeah.
But a lot of times, that mixed signal is because of the guy's mixed signal. We don't know where we stand. So we're not going to publicly display you because one, we're not sure if you want the world to know that you're with us, or two, we don't know how far this relationship is going to go. We don't want to look stupid when we go Instagram official or Facebook official, and then the next guy's not answering our calls, and we're sitting here looking stupid because we just showed the world that we're out with Bay. So it's a very it's very shaky ground, and a lot of times that secretiveness that us girls are showing is because guy has not made us feel secure. We don't have a clear indication of his intentions. And I think women, no, men will take us out. They will wine us and dine us and do all of that. And then bounce off of us like a diving board and go on about their way. Like, we never know. We don't know. A guy can, do these dramatic romantic things behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but we're still really nothing to them. And we just don't
really.
We hold back.
Interesting. Because what that does, now watch this, what that really does is it says, even if I'm being such a gentleman on this level, it's not being received. So you're right, that level of communication is going to be there. So holding back on from a male perspective says, she's not receiving me at this level. Mm-hmm. She's not receiving my public display of affection. She's not receiving my roses, candy, flowers. She's not receiving my dinner invitations. She's not receiving that of me. So what point is it to extend anything else? You got to think about it. It works two ways. I'm with you. Here's that.
That's why you and I are just proving my thought, which is that you just need to say it. You need to say, hey, I like you. I had a guy once say to me, I want you to know that I'm very intentional where you're concerned. And like that meant a lot to me because, I'm talking to the guy every day and, we're falling asleep on the phone, all those cute little romantic things. But the whole time, I still was, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, he probably has a chick or he has this. And so one day he just came out and said it. He said, I am very intentional where you're concerned. So don't have doubts. Like he just got to the point. He was like, don't think that there's something other than what's going on. Mm-hmm. And, later in the relationship, when things happen in his life, he said to me, he said, hey, I have this and this and this going on in my life. And I know that it's going to be a distraction for me. And I know I won't be able to give you the same energy that I've been giving you, the time that I've been giving you, and I don't want to hurt you. So I'm telling you now, what to expect, and it's up to you if you want to move forward. I've never in my life met a man that was direct like that and did not waste my time. And to this day, I have the utmost respect for that guy. I mean, I didn't want that type of relationship, obviously, so we're not talking, but I have the utmost respect for the way that he just brought the communication right to my table.
Right.
And left ambiguities. So I never had a moment where I felt insecure. You know what I mean? I just never had that moment.
Interesting discussion. I love this. This is where this is going. Mixed signals, what they say versus what they do. So he said what he meant, right?
He did.
And he didn't, whatever happened, he gave you the option to, receive or not.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. So that level of communication was there in the way that not only what he did, but what he said, those words matched and they aligned up.
Yes.
What do you think? why do you think we have such an issue with I'm going to share my point of view on this, but ladies first. Why do you think that we have such an issue with being verbal and saying how we really feel?
I think there are a lot of things. I think, for someone like me, it's insecurity because I know that I am very opinionated and I'm very, very talkative. So if I really am interested in a guy, I will hold that back because I don't want to scare them off. So
Okay.
I try to withhold my real I often I've gotten to the point now where I actually say it. Like I'll say to a guy, you're meeting my representative right now. I'm just
Okay. Okay.
meeting my representative right now. Because I need to get to know you better to show you my real personality, and they'll be like, well, I would rather the real personality. And I'll say no, because I'm very direct. I'm very kind of a hammer over the head. I don't beat around the bush. So I'm gonna be a little more quiet until
Okay. If if that is the case, um, let's look at a dynamic of this because I'll share with you how I
so
partake. Wait, what happened? Oh, we lost you.
I got you
What
back.
happened? Okay. Um, let me share this with you because I agree to some part, but then again I don't. And here's here's why. So from a male perspective, and I'm not speaking for all men, I'm just speaking for this guy right here. From a male perspective, what it looks like and what it feels like and what it actually is are all three different things. Okay. The reason why a lot of people don't say anything, not only with the level of insecurity, but it's because of what they believe and what they've already gone through in the past that got them in the situation where they are right there. Right. So if the previous relationship would have already worked out, you wouldn't be in this position looking to build and partner with somebody else. So something happened in that previous space that turns you away from even doing it in the beginning. There's a bit of reservation there. It's kind of like that insecurity, kind of like that same reason. I was in class this past weekend. I noticed all the brothers migrated to the back of the classroom, didn't want to go to the front. You're just conditioned to think that it's going to be a negative. I need to fall back. I need to not, be as open. But that couldn't be further from the truth. We have to kind of get away from the fact that whatever we say is going to be received in a negative way. All my people out there who have the quote unquote fuck it mentality, bring that same level of intensity to this new situation, whether it's your dating life, whether it's to your job situation. And I'm not saying fuck it in a negative way, just put it on the table and let your truth go ahead and come out. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, but I also think that it's not even, I mean, yeah, it's past relationships, but it's conditioning in general. We're
Yeah.
conditioned to not communicate our true selves,
It's
especially,
not received.
I mean, you say what?
Our true selves are not received.
Exactly. So this is just part of a survival instinct, and we unfortunately apply it even in our interpersonal relationships, where it's kind of like a code thing. We just inherently uh don't show ourselves, and especially with women, especially with women, black women dating black men, because being a strong, vocal, powerful woman is, to, from my perspective, frowned upon by black men. Black men really, they treat a woman that's very, very vocal, very dominant in her personality. They perceive that as emasculation, and they reject that type of woman. They think that that woman doesn't make a good partner. They don't see the power potential of having a very
Okay.
they don't from my experience, they don't look at a woman in that way as this is a potential queen. This is a chick that can run the kingdom. when I'm down. They don't look at it like that. They look at it as a threat to their manhood, and as opposed to an enhancement of them as a man. And so for a woman to be in that arena, especially to me in Black relationships, I can't really speak to interracial because I don't deal in interracial relationships, but we have to do ourselves to draw you in. And then we have to get you. So this is where we send a mixed signal, because,
Mhm.
we do ourselves to draw you in. So we have to introduce you to our representative. Then we have to slowly integrate you into our true personalities. But before
Okay.
we do that, we've had to have sexed you real good, fed you real good, walked around looking real good, and done all these things, played your game. And then we have to slowly start doing this head and neck game, where we integrate, once we've indoctrinated you to us, you're in love with us, maybe have kids with us, you're invested with us, whatever it is. And you hear that a lot, because you hear a lot of Black men talk about how their woman just flipped the script once
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. But
Yes.
but we can't do it. I mean, as Black women in this world, we have to be very powerful in order to survive. We're a very, very targeted group. We have to be very strong. We have to, or we can't survive. And it's very hard to flip that switch off interacting with men, especially when a lot of us are, have a lot of negative experiences that we feel like we have to protect ourselves. So it's very hard for us to relinquish that power. And it's a very, gentle game to kind of get a woman to relinquish control in that way, to another party. And so, if we don't want to be alone for the rest of our lives, we know that we have to send you a mixed signal, uh, so that you don't think that we are a Nightmare on Elm Street. We have to do this. And I feel like men do it uh, in other ways, in a plethora of ways,
Yeah.
to also draw to them. So
We take a lot from that. D Major MPA is chiming in, folks. For those of you who don't know, she is the CEO of SugaBabyCo.com, representing the wonderful brand that is online. If you don't know about it, SugaBabyCo.com. No H, no Ara. SugaBabyCo.com is the website. Check her out. Learn a little bit more about what she has to say, because she's saying some real shit right here tonight. And I hear it. I hear it. But what that says overall, because you've given so much of the representative up front, is that that's who he likes. But you
yeah,
flip flop that shit, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, who is this? And
yeah,
where is that woman I met 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, 2 years ago in my life? What happened here? Because that's not who I committed to.
that's
That's
true.
not
That's
the idea. That's not the person. That's some shit right there that just has you looking for a way out in a relationship. That is, I've already signed the papers. I'm already splitting bills. I'm already in this thing, and I've already shown commitment. She got keys to my SUV, but now something wrong. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a big, big bad mixed signal. Can I share what the people are saying?
Go for it.
Well, Mercedes has made a comment here, and it has to be recognized. She says the culture. Girls are taught to be quiet, non-passive, understanding and forgiving, seen and not heard. And boys are taught to be direct, but don't show or talk about your feelings. Boys don't cry. She's absolutely right. She's
Very. I
absolutely
agree.
right. Men are even taught that, even to this day. You have to look at the fact that even as young boys, men are taught, be tough, don't cry. It didn't hurt. Suck it
Mhm.
up. So when we're dealing with emotions and some shit like that goes down and we're hurt, we don't cry. We can't let it go. We can't let those emotions come out, because one, we haven't been taught that it's okay to do that. Two, that mechanism hasn't been released to say when we can and who we can cry, who we can lean towards. Because mom told you to be quiet, so you don't lean on her. Dad told you to be tough, so you can't lean on him. So you don't know how to let this out. And those mixed emotions, those mixed signals that you give or that you receive are coming from a place of internally, and it's just not healthy. So, ladies, if you all are doing these things, and you got a guy, and we both trying to figure out what happened, now we got to have some kind of reconciliation and come to an agreement to figure this out. So now we break this thing down to that level of communication. What do we do? Why can't we feel as if we're being honest? And if we're with somebody that we trust with our bodies, with our mind, and ladies and gentlemen, dare I say, we trust with our money, surely you can tell this motherfucker about your own personal feelings. Can we not do that?
I think that's important. I think it's important. Again, like I said, I've tried it times and it's always been unsuccessful, which is why I like overly responded in kind when I met the guy who was so because I just wanted it to be known. Like I wanted to reward good behavior. God help me, like, yes, I love this. Communicate and tell me what the hell is going on. But I've never experienced that. I've never, I know of a guy that told a girl that he wanted to get married. Like he told her he was in love with her. He wanted to marry her. He had pursued her for years, and the girl was always holding back. And he couldn't understand why she wouldn't just give in to his pursuit of her, because he was telling her she's the one, this, that, and the fourth. And the reason why she wouldn't give in is because of his co-parenting situation. His co-parenting situation gave a huge mixed signal. He, had a small child and he and the baby mom were not together and that they lived in a different state. And he would always fly to see his kid and he would always stay at the baby mom's house or vice versa. They would never put the kid on a plane with an escort or something. The baby mom would always come and stay at his house. And the woman was like, that co-parenting situation is a huge signal that you are not ready to bring a queen into your household and for her to be the queen of that kingdom and you king, because you have a whole nother queen situation going on. You have a whole nother woman that feels that she has that family set up with you, and so no woman wants to be this man's wife or significant other when he's halfway cohabitating, when the baby mama has that much access. The lines are not clear.
Yeah.
And those lines should be clear long before you bring another woman into the situation. It shouldn't be and confronted the guy, and the guy said to her, well, when you give me a chance, all of that will change. And she was like, all of that has to change before we go into a relationship in order for us to go into a relationship. So it was like, butting of heads. And he was sending a nonverbal communication to her that what he was coming out of his mouth was not consistent to the way he was living his life.
No, not freaking at all.
Not at all.
It's not a game, brother, if you can pull that off, and I'm not mad at you for doing that thing. Not at all. Not at all. But you got to be clear. My Bible readers out there will tell you in the book of Proverbs, it says, in everything that you get understanding. So you haven't really laid down the full understanding of what that situation is and what the expectations are. Yeah. Haven't done it. Maybe had he approached it differently, he probably got away with it. Well, I wouldn't say get away, but he would have had more clarity in the full situation of it.
It wouldn't have worked with a chick like me. I can't do that. Maybe
never say never. Never say never.
I don't think any dominant personality female would ever tolerate that.
You don't think so?
No, hell no. Oh my gosh, no. I know I couldn't. If it were me, I actually dated a guy with a similar situation where he had, a co-parenting situation, and he's in a relationship with the woman right now who seems to be okay with it. But when it's hell to the hell to the hell no.
Why not?
Staying in your house. I mean, this guy used to travel a lot on the road, he would want to see his kid, which was admirable. But he would fly the kid and the baby mom out to wherever he was, and they would go on things and all this stuff. And no,
You want? Did you feel bad because you weren't invited or you weren't going?
it didn't matter if I was invited or not. I didn't. Baby mama shouldn't have been there. My like no. And I think if a guy does want like the baby mom to be in the family fold, you know, kind of like that TV show that Will Smith had in the day, where I don't know if you remember Ray and all that. I mean, if a guy wants that, he should let his woman. He should let her be the engineer of that, because
he wasn't communicating properly, correct?
Way that's comfortable, huh?
Yeah. So he wasn't communicating properly.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, if that's something that, if you want baby moms, like just come over the house and walk in the door and be all comfortable like that, you need to let your lady create that relationship with the baby mom. Don't ever try to bring that into a relationship with a woman or force that on a woman. You just may as well resolve being single or go get your of a woman, because that's never going to work.
Well,
but it's a miscommunication. It just, the guy can't figure out why the chick won't be with him. Well, that's why.
Yeah, it is miscommunication, folks, and we have to be able to address it. It starts understanding your level, your love language. How do you speak? How do you let people know and get inside of what goes on in your whereabouts and how you're feeling about things? You can't be called out on what you're expected to do, because what you've done is you've allowed that door to be open to say that there's room for error. Like Dee is saying, take control, right? Follow suit. You have some expectations. Like, fellas, when you meet a young lady and you're sizing her up and you're looking at her, you have an idea of what type of relationship you want with said woman, right? Communicate that up front. Let it be known. Whether she receives it now, doesn't receive it at all, or receives it later, you have to have that clear understanding, because your relationship will be totally, totally better all the way through. You can't go in. You heard the examples that both of us gave. You can't go in one way as a representative thinking it's going to be something and then flip-flop that shit and transform later on in life.
And you know how guys, and it's horrible, guys allow themselves to be put in a friend box knowing that they really want this woman. And they play the friend role thinking that eventually they'll convert her. And then they're angry when she gets serious with a whole nother guy. Been there all along.
Nah, you can't do that, bro.
But you've been friend zoned and let her do that.
Yeah.
So you gave a mixed signal. Her signal was clear.
Right.
Her signal was not, because she didn't know you had intentions. And she, like a friend. Now you look, because you've been so much into a woman. Right.
Yes, I completely agree. If she tells you no, let the no be where it is. It might be no, just might be not right now. Right? No, just might be I'm thinking I'm doing something else, because you're not clear, so she's not clear. So don't rule it out, fellas. I mean, if you think that that's the one that you want to go after, motherfucker, be intentional about what you mean, because what she's going to gravitate to is the you that said, hey, regardless of what's going on, what's going down, I'm here for the long haul, and you're proving that. So that friend zone shit and you backing away, just trying to wait in the cut, like, nah, don't be that guy, bro. That Poindexter shit's played. I pulled that shit one time, like right out of high school. Nah, never again. Just be honest about it, because you lose out. You be like, she dating this motherfucker? When you really wanted to be, no, don't go through that. Because now you're going to look at her like she ain't shit, and that's not the way you really wanted to approach that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Stay true to who you are. Be honest with yourself first and foremost, right? That's what you have to do. Ladies, Please listen to what D has to say about this. But for the fellas, I'm asking you strictly, be honest in your intentions, right? If you don't mean this woman no good and you just want to get in and get out, then don't feed into the beast just because you're getting that much more of her time. It's unnecessary. Don't go to these job interviews telling these folks that you're going to do all this and do all that and make yourself miserable on the back end because you signed up for that bullshit on the front. This is speaking from experience. You can't do that. You can't live like that. What insight and information would you want people to know, not only about this conversation, D, but about your business as a whole?
Insider information. Well, as far as this conversation goes, I think, you know, I've said it all throughout this podcast. Just be clear. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. Stop reading on signals. Don't read my signals. Listen to my words. You know, ask me the damn question that you want to know, because I'm going to ask, and be receptive when somebody is just coming at you directly and asking questions and telling you what it is. And then stick and move accordingly. I think that that's extremely important. As brand, as far as my business goes, I would just ask, please visit my site, SugaBabyCo. It is a women's apparel company. We are, like I said, currently transitioning into more of a resort wear mode. Currently, we're still selling athleisure. Athleisure will still be sold, but we will be converting to more of a resort wear platform. Please visit our Instagram at SugaBaby.company. That's spelled SugaBaby. But yeah, please follow us on Instagram. Please visit our site. And that's pretty much it. More to come. Please, follow our journey as we grow as a business, and watch my daughter grow, because it's really exciting to see a young person be so focused on entrepreneurship. I feel like I'm her assistant. So
righteous. I thank you for that. Also, folks, let me add this info as well. Like I mentioned, today's show is brought to you by Feline Couture. Please check out, learn more about what's going on with special offers and features, featured items, that is, that you may have. So definitely check out and subscribe to the site, felinecouture.com. That is feline-couture.com. More information will follow coming up in the next few days. And if you got some good insight out of the show, you saw the post that was out there. The first person to share this particular live show on their Facebook page and tag me in this, also put the hashtag Chantel's Dazzling Charms. You're going to be gifted your very own free jewelry bundle tonight. We'll get your information to make sure you get that no matter where you are in the country. So I definitely want to encourage my people to not only continue being supportive of the businesses, being supportive of what goes on here, but also being supportive in your own rights and what you tend to say. I definitely want to thank you, Dee, for making time to come out to the show. It's been a pleasure. I know this is not going to be the only time that you're here, but we definitely continue and support what you're doing. I think it's wonderful, man. I love to see people blossom and do what they do and what they feel is going to be great. So continued blessings to you and much success for you, not only today, but tomorrow and in your future business journeys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love your show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I hope other people will make sure to chime in and get some of this too. You've heard it, folks. We're talking about mixed signals. Hope that you got some good signals and got some good insight out of today's show. And if you did, please do me a favor. Reach back and tag and tell at least 5 more people to tune in with you next week as we hit you with another wonderful discussion topic right here on the Online Happy Hour. So saying good night to my family, go mob to my frat, all my relatives, my cousins, nieces, nephews, uncles, and aunts. Please make it home safe. We love you. God bless you. We thank you. And we'll see you next time. It's your main man, Andy Brown, right here on the Online Happy Hour. Sending love and sending shouts out. Good night. Peace. And we gone.
happier.